Yes,
So I'm
yes.
so glad you got up here, Jonathan.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's quite the pleasure to have Jonathan here.
I always walk past here and I see the space, but this is the first time I'm actually in here, so I'm happy to be here.
Right on.
Yes.
I don't know if you all know, folks, I'm videotaping these interviews as I'm doing the show so that you can see them if you hear parts of it and want to hear more on artistonart.com. And Jonathan was needing a little...
I need to move around and make sure that you could hear me and the camera could see me, so
that's
a
right.
lot's going on.
I ask a lot of my interviewees.
No, it's good.
Jonathan is doing some a little bit different, yet somehow very related to what Lisa and David are doing with their video pieces. Jonathan is creating a social media app for his work.
Yes, I am. It's actually it's a mobile app called Qulture, and it was inspired by a community that already exists of queer people of color, activists, artists, educators, and people who really are concerned with a lot of issues around the rise of HIV, transphobia, media representation, immigration. The list goes on. I actually have a list in front of me. But there's a lot of issues that this community it deals with because of a lack of representation, a lack of a platform to have dialogue. And so Qulture, the app, is supposed to be an aggregate or actually an extension of the already existing network, which you can learn more about on Qulture.org. And
it's very important, folks,
yes.
to understand that it's Q culture with the Q.org, which I think is a
Yes.
great play on queer culture, obviously, social media app. But you also had Qulture.org before you came to
Yes.
Denham?
Yeah, it was a group of us from Los Angeles who are bloggers, photographers, like I said, activists, and we post poetry, art pieces, and it's just a great place to share, and it's a digital platform, and we also aim to connect in physical space as well. So it's this dichotomy of digital space, physical space. How can we connect those two so that we can create meaningful experiences in both those worlds?
So when you say you're tapping into a community that's already existing, there is truly a culture community that has been in existence, and so you're just applying this on top of something that's already existing.
Yeah.
How long has it been in existence?
We started in 2011. It was Freddie Lee, Jackie Guerrero, Arely Zimmerman in Los Angeles, and we just got together, and there's tons of other folks that just came on board and have been doing great work. And so I took this on, making a mobile app to expand the already existing network, and so that we have an app. So I wanted to challenge myself to really learn how to build an app, the ins and outs, and it's been pretty challenging, exciting, but I want to walk out of here with an app, and so learning the business. I'm in the Silicon Valley here in Santa Cruz, and so it's been great.
Boy, that kind of leads me straight into one of the questions I wanted to talk with you about, Jonathan, and that is when does the business end and when does the art begin? I know that this is a very important question, probably to your thesis committee. I would guess you've been asked this.
I've been asked, because I definitely come from a background of digital art development, and I worked for a company called Almer Blank, and we did interface development. I worked there for 7 years, so I do come from a business background, and also produced a documentary called Gay Latino LA, which is making its way around the country. And so, business is definitely something that is under my belt. And so, your question is how does art and business kind of come together? And for me, it is organically together because of the nature of what I do. And so I believe that artists should be making money all the time, and so it's very important to find ways to make that happen. And so the app is supposed to connect artists to be able to to be able to make money off of each other, and we are creating horizontal business models. What horizontal business models mean is that it's non-hierarchical. So whenever there is any kind of income, we work in circles to make decisions about how money is distributed, and then we can if we want to invest more into the mobile app, we could. If we want to invest money into providing grants for other artists to, feature their work on our website. So it's definitely a business, but it's a new form of business, and this is something that my mentors, the professors here, have been able to help me to kind of learn more about, in a response to capitalism, how can we create alternative business models? And I'm pulling from Holarchy. Holarchy is a new way that startup companies here in the Silicon Valley are operating, where it's not pyramid structure, and also Native American traditions of circles and making decisions, on a horizontal model. And so I'm pulling from different things to make sure that it's the power and money and everything is distributed as a collective rather than individual. I don't want to make decisions on my own. So
wonderful. Jonathan Menendez talking about his work around Qulture with the Q, Qulture.org.
With the Q.
Yeah, Qulture with the Q, Qulture with the Q, and also the social media application that he has created to augment the already online website and community around that website. When you started with Danim, were you already operating in this non-hierarchical, or as you call, horizontal business model?
Yeah, pretty much. There really isn't. It's yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say there really isn't bylaws or anything that we operate under, but we talk all the time. We meet once a month. And we meet as a circle of friends. We do workshops for each other where we teach. There's always a writing workshop, technology, and we show each other how to use WordPress, how to use Photoshop to create, memes and different things. And so the idea is to get the messages that queer people of color need to get out there using technology. And again, those are things revolve around issues of education, healthy relationships, transphobia, so immigration reform. So these are issues like, again, rise of HIV, jobs, social disparities. These are the concerns of queer people of color, and we need to make sure we begin to address those using the power of digital media, the power of technology to address those, rather than being isolated and caving into our phones and using things that, taking pictures of our food and taking pictures of ourselves. How about we create dialogues about ourselves? And so just making people think a little more specifically around queer people of color issues. So that's the mission of Qulture, and that's how I do. Yeah, so that's Qulture.
Qulture with the Q. This is Artist on Art. I'm speaking with Jonathan Menendez. He has created a social media application for this year's Digital Arts and New Media MFA exhibition called Undercurrents. So how are you presenting this to the public?
That is a great question, because I thought a lot about how to present a mobile app. Traditionally, applications are displayed, exhibited, and released in trade shows, right? So, how can I reimagine a trade show to incorporate, art that is decolonial, right? That is, queer people of color, that is, cultural. So, and typically trade shows are very capitalistic and selling things to you, which is good. I mean, it's good. It's also like, it's complicated. It's problematic. Hashtag problematic. So I decided to, and I asked all of the users, all of the people that are part of Qulture, how they would want to display this. And so we decided to go with a tea shop. What is it called? A tea store? A cafe. A cafe. Yeah. So yeah, I got stuck there. So, but yeah. So hanging out. If you come to experience the app, you will be able to get some tea, sit down, and drink some tea with some queer people of color who will show you how to use the app. So we have individuals there, including myself, who will walk you through how to experience the app. Unfortunately, I did not get the app in the Apple Store just yet, so it's not downloadable, but I hope to have it in the Apple Store by the end of the summer or in the middle of the summer. So Qulture.org, that's
where you go to get the newest information. Jonathan Menendez. So tell us, how many people are using Qulture.org?
We currently have about 7,000 folks. I know we have 3,000 individuals that use it. No, we have 4,000 likes on Facebook, and then we have tons of traffic through Google Analytics. So yeah, so we have a good group of folks from all over the country, primarily on the West Coast.
And how many are in your kind of core horizontal?
Yeah, horizontalness. We have about 52 folks that are part of our collective, and again, we have people in New York, London, so we have individuals all over the world, but mainly on the West Coast. We have some folks from New York, so it's open to just about anybody to use. Lately, because I've been, here within the UCSC atmosphere, we have a lot of students that have begun to use it, and that's one approach that I'm taking to get it out into the world, is also releasing it throughout the UC system. And so my goal is to release it to the students, similar to Facebook's approach of releasing to only college students, except mine isn't just for college students, but it's definitely one of my target demographics, because the students really here at UCSC were very, very involved in making and contributing and helping to expand the app.
So you'll be giving teas for your exhibition installation work called Qulture with the Q. And so will we be able to have tea pretty much the whole time the gallery is open with you?
Yeah, we'll have you'll have tea, you'll have projections on the wall that are videos by queer people of color who are part of Qulture, and you will have a queer person of color there, if not another UCSC student, myself, who will tell you a little more about the app and why it's important to our community, and how others can take part in that, who are not QPOC, which is queer people of color, but who are allies and who also are concerned and interested. So ultimately, this is not exclusive. It's definitely all about getting multiple people informed and in the loop of the things that are important to the queer people of color community.
Wonderful. Jonathan Menendez. And so that will be something, these teas will be available for people April 26th and 27th in the Digital Arts and Research Center from 12 to 5. And then you will also have something happening May 1st, the opening night, I'm assuming. And then that will be going on the 2nd through the 4th. And those hours are 10 to 5? Yes.
We look at Lisa. I don't know. I think so. I'm just not going to be there all day, all weekend.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there for sure.
Luckily, you'll be having tea, so.
Yeah, it'll calm you. We have all kinds of tea: black tea, green tea, white tea, all the colors.
It'll be a rainbow tea.
It will be a rainbow tea, cultural tea.
Wonderful. So there you go, Jonathan. When you came to the Danum program, were you pretty, you're going to make an app?
Yeah, I was pretty set on that. I know a lot of folks that come to the program aren't certain what they want to develop. Others, like myself, were just like, I'm making an app, So it was either that or another movie, but I wanted to challenge myself to do something that I've never done before, so that upon graduation, I could get into some sort of business, something that will pay the bills, And so knowing how to make an app, I thought, was definitely the way to go.
So would you mind telling us a little bit about that process for you?
Making an app.
For all those folks out there that have never made an app and have always wanted to.
Yeah, so there's different options. The option that I took was a bit not the route that I recommend. So, but there's outsourcing. There's a lot of great developers in China and India that you can hire. There's websites that I'm not familiar with that I just recently got a link to, that you can you could post how much money you have and what you want to develop, and somebody will pick that up here within the U.S. So those are two options. So the first being outsourcing, the other one just posting up on this website. I wish I had it for you, but there's networks of people that you can tap into, students and already existing app developers
All right, but I'm a DIY kind of gal, so I want to do it myself.
Okay.
How do I do that?
All right, so
I'm assuming you're that kind of person too.
Yeah, I did it myself, but I also work in community. So I had students that know code that I worked with. There's Xcode, which is what I ended up developing in, but I also wanted to learn JavaScript. So I went in there and learned a little bit, but to learn code in a matter of 2 years was crazy. So having people that you can work with, that you can make your friends and work as a community is important. So that's how I do it myself. I work with other individuals, and I learn how to do the graphical interface. So making PNGs in Photoshop, learning a little bit of like JavaScript, HTML, all of those things. So.
And how much of the aesthetic? I'm assuming you were in control of all of it, even though you were in community and collaborating with people. It's your project. It's your. Yeah. You're the final decision maker on how it looks and how the user experiences it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's my vision, but I'm always open for people to tell me, no, that's not good, that's not going to happen, and I go with it, because there's other people who know better, who have better eyes at graphic design, and there's people who know better coding, and like that can't happen. That's not realistic for what you're paying me. So money is also an issue. So
right.
Yeah.
So digital arts and new media, folks, you can come in and study a lot of different things, as you can hear from today's 3 guests that I had, Lisa Banks, David W. Moody, and Jonathan Menendez. So, Jonathan, what was one of the most important things that you think you got out of being here?
Being here in Santa Cruz in the program allowed me to attach theoretical basis specifically around network theory, understanding how networks are ways that we all interact with each other in the society, in the digital world. And so what does it mean to be part of a digital network? Who has control over our information? Hacktivism, people who could hack into it. And so for me it was about learning about the theoretical portion of academics is what I attached to my business background. And, yeah.
So you were grounded in some research.
Yeah, absolutely. Grounded in some research and some theory. So praxis and theory, it's quite a combo. I think Lisa would agree.
It's the Danham way.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Lisa next. You're up, darling. What do you feel like you walked away from in this experience?
Well, I think I sort of share that with Jonathan, and that I came into the program pretty professionally focused. I've been working for several years in art galleries and also as a freelance video editor, and I wanted to kind of get back to my artistic practice and figure out how to really combine those things, to combine my professional background with a practice and sort of round out the academic experience that I had and see how I could take that forward into the future. So I think I've definitely achieved that, and that I've found a methodology and a way that I like to work as an artist. I've really incorporated digital media and experimental media into what I'm doing, and I'm assured about all these other sort of paths that I can take that weren't open to me before grad school. So that's exciting.
Wonderful. And then David, if we can just get a last tell us what you have. Let's see, if you wouldn't mind grabbing the microphone from Lisa. What would you say you've gotten out of this?
I would definitely say my biggest takeaway is what I've learned working with again Helen Meyer and Newton Harrison, as far as just kind of a systems thinking based ecological approach. And I think that based on the project research that I've done, I think that we're perfectly capable of doing the things that need to be done to make a significant difference in dealing with the ecological issues before us. But I do think it's going to require a pretty significant paradigm shift And I would encourage everyone to read The Web of Life and another book called Cradle to Cradle, Remaking the Way We Make Things.
Excellent.